Hello and welcome back to my channel where I give my 2 cents on all things TV and film, and today we're talking about All American Season 7 Episode 3 titled Ante Up. High school football is back with the first games of the season for Beverly and Crenshaw in this episode, and let me just say, these head coaches, are doing an awful job. We have Bobby at Crenshaw, who is basically doing everything out of spite and out of bitterness over whatever happened between him and Billy in the past. You know, first he puts Khalil on the team seemingly just because Yasi pissed him off. And then he keeps him benched, and the team is not doing well. Yasi is not playing well. He has absolutely nothing to say about it, and he just keeps Khalil on the bench. And again, we see him not respecting Jordan's insights. He does not listen to him. At this point, we're all questioning why. Because you hired him in the first place. You agreed to have him be a coach on your team. So why would you do that if you have such a huge issue with him? Are you doing it just because you want to ruin his life because of who his father is? Because the man is dead. And at this point, you are a grown man, and whatever closure you hoped to get with Billy from whatever happened between you two, it's not going to happen. So, I'm just kind of grow up at this point. You shouldn't have hired him in the first place if you knew you weren't going to work well together, but now you are. And I will say Jordan was in the wrong by putting Khalil in the game as the quarterback coach. But there is a way to reprimand a person for what they did wrong, but also praising them because the thing that they did that was wrong was actually the thing that needed to happen in order for y'all to win. Because like Amina said, Jordan is the one person who is doing whatever he can to get this team a win. And he seems like the only person who's trying to do whatever they can to get this team to win. Players don't seem to be saying anything. Yasi is not doing his job. And the head coach is doing whatever. And then you have Cassius, who is also not doing a good job because he is still thinking about his perfect team in Oakland. And KJ is the only link to that, so he's relying heavily on him. And all of that pressure that Cassius is putting on himself, he is now starting to transfer that to KJ. And we see that in their relationship and how they dealt with each other in this episode. And I mean, at least he took accountability for it in the end. But when he put that article on his wall, that's when I began to get worried. Because there's two roads that you can go down with this. You're either putting it up on the wall because you're going to let these failures consume you, or you're putting it up to let it fuel you for success. And I don't know which way he's going to go at this point. And from what we've learned about him, with the pressure he's putting on himself as a coach, with everything going on in his life and his marriage, also being a bit of a failure now that they've separated and it's not something that he wants, but obviously you can tell that he had a hand in whatever happened that led to the separation. So he's probably thinking of his marriage as a failure. He's probably thinking of himself as a failure in the husband category. And now as a coach, they can't even win their first game in a team that hasn't brought a championship to the school in however many years, to the point where no one even thinks it's a possibility for them and they're not even expecting it. And so this is where he's starting to possibly go down a very slippery slope. And his response to all of this, which we will see in the coming episodes hopefully, will either ease my concern or heighten it. But at this point, I am concerned because I'm very unsure if he's dealing with any of this well. And it is a possibility that he's not, and he's bottling a lot of stuff inside. And his reaction to all of this, what are we going to see? Him going to Layla's and getting, a glass of whiskey more often, and that leading to be a problem? Is he just going to bottle everything up and then explode eventually one day? Don't know what's going to happen. So yes, my levels of concern are higher right now. And now I want to talk about Khalil because I didn't really have much of an opinion on him when we first met him. I didn't hate him, but now I can say that I do like this kid. He really is the type of kid that needs someone in their corner to root for him, and now he has that in Amina and in Jordan. We did see him say that he doesn't want to be a statistic, and from what we know about the environment that he's grown up in, who his father is, getting bits and pieces of that, that's not going to be an easy thing for him to do by himself. So he really needs people in his corner. And it's nice to have a peer in Amina in his corner, but it's very impactful when you have someone who is in a position of authority, an adult in your life, at your school, your coach, like Jordan, who is going to be in his corner and root for him and keep pushing him to be better. Like, it really does make a difference in a kid when you have all of these adults in your life who just don't think any highly of you. And so now he has that in Jordan. And of course, now that he's got himself settled in with the team and in with these relationships, his dad's going to come back next week. So we'll be keeping a close eye on, are the people in his corner enough to keep him from regressing? Will he regress? Is he going to stand up to his dad or just follow along with whatever he says? Doesn't look like it's going to be an easy or a fun time, but that's what we're looking out for. I do have one question. Where's his mother? Did they mention that and I just miss it? If so, let me know, please, because I'm very curious on where she is, why she's not around, and what is just going on with her. And elsewhere in the episode, we see Amina start working with Layla and start in her training, and they have this very heartfelt, like, motherly mentor moment conversation at the end of the night. And in this moment, as small as it was, we basically see Layla come face to face with her younger self. And that is absolutely terrifying. And it's terrifying because she knows how she was at that age. She knows how she felt at that age and how she acted at that age. And does she want Amina to go through the same thing? Absolutely not. Will it break her if she does? Yes. So now she's kind of faced with, how do I prevent how I felt and how I reacted from happening to Amina, but it not being like overbearing or pushy or even coming off as a little weird, because there's obviously the possibility that Amina isn't going to feel exactly like how Layla felt at that age. Similar, yes, but exactly, maybe not. And her reaction to her feelings, we're already seeing, aren't exactly like Layla's reaction. So she's got to balance that now and try and think about what she can do about that. And that's actually going to be very interesting to watch, especially when you remember that Coop is also in the picture, and she has this auntie kind of like motherly role in Amina's life, and has been for like over the past few seasons since we met Amina up until now. And we're already seeing the conflict between Amina and Coop, and how she's like, you're not my mother, stop acting like my mom, and how Coop is going to navigate that whole situation. But obviously it's even more complicated because Coop is part of the reason why her mother isn't here anymore. So tons of complications, and obviously there's going to have to be another conversation with Amina about the details of what actually happened with her mom, and just the side of her mom that she didn't really get to see because she was so young and didn't really know what was going on with all of the gang stuff. And I'm just very interested to see how much detail are Preach and Coop going to give her now that she is much older than she was when all of this was actually happening. And the fallout of all of that with her, it's not going to be pretty. And I do want to touch on that almost kiss between Amina and Khalil. Really, my one question is, where are Amina's girlfriends? Because she has people in her life who are adults that she talks to, and she has her peers who are Khalil and KJ, these dudes, but this is like girl talk, and I need her friend from the first episode to come back. I need her to have a space where she can just yap with her girlfriends about all of the like boy drama and adult drama that's going on in her life. She needs that like peer girl group, and I'm hoping that we see that soon. And before I wrap everything up, we're moving into the Who is the Uncle segment of this whole episode. Thankfully now Jordan has clued in Layla on this whole thing, and we know from synopsises and stuff that they are going to be on this search together, which cool. Let's see it. We know it's going to be hilarious because they're hilarious. But for me, my brain is now leaning towards it being a person who we have not met yet. And I'm willing to bet that Bobby's issue with Billy is more tied to Bobby probably being up for the head coaching job at Crenshaw back in the day, but they gave it to Billy because he was the NFL superstar that came out of Crenshaw. Bobby doesn't think that Billy should have gotten that over him simply because of that, and that's why he's all pissed off at him still. And interestingly enough, now that I think it's a stranger, I'm more so interested in like the whole situation at large with Grandma Mary and the timeline of it all, because we know that the uncle is older than Billy. Was she married when this happened? Was it an affair or not? Obviously, GW knows about it, so it either happened when they were together or she told him about it, which again leads me to, why did she put him up for adoption in the first place? Who is the dad? Like, why are we not? I mean, obviously, there's a reason why we're not talking about that more, but I have not seen anyone ask that question at all. And I'm just like, who is the dad? Who is the guy that was with the grandma that produced this child that we are looking for? Who is he? Did he go to the same school? Did he have beef with GW? Like, I need more information other than just who is he? Because when we find out, like, those are all of the questions that I will still have, and I have them now. So yeah, those are all my thoughts on this episode. One more question that I do have real quick. Where does Coop live? Can anyone answer that for me? And if you can, put it in the comments. Put your thoughts on the episode in the comments. Let's talk about it. Who do you think the uncle is? Like, is your brain going down the line that my brain is going down, or is it gone down another line that I haven't even said anything about yet? Like, let's talk about it in the comments. Again, I will always say, be civil or be blocked. I'll see y'all next week. Bye.